I want to just confirm that it is absolutely possible to let go of tinnitus so that you have no noise left in your ears. This is not something that happens quickly or overnight. It can be a bit of a process getting there. But it is possible for people to find silence again. Regularly I work with people and they come in and say, well, last week I had 4 days of total silence in a quiet room. I couldn't hear a thing. And then on the other days, it was just very minor. And frankly, I didn't really notice it because it wasn't enough to press into my awareness. And I'm not sure whether I have it or not, because in a quiet room, if I listen out, then I can almost create it again by focusing on it. But when you get down to this level, it's pretty much like anybody else. If you put anybody in a quiet sound booth and say, listen out and see if you can hear anything, most people can ramp up their hearing sensitivity enough that they end up hearing the buzz of the nervous system. Just like when my father took me out into the desert and asked me to listen to the silence for 12 minutes, after a few minutes, I thought I could hear the molecules banging up against my eardrum, but actually it was my own buzz within my body. So most people who never have tinnitus, they can find it if they really strain to hear, but why would they bother? It's not an issue for them. And if you have had tinnitus in the past and you've made a complete recovery, then it's absolutely boring and uninteresting to try and find it again. Once you've let go of tinnitus, you just move on. You've got much more important things to worry about once you've made a recovery. It's like being able to feel your own socks. You wouldn't walk around all day long trying to feel your socks. It's very low down in your awareness, so why bother to notice it? Once your activations come right down and you're no longer rooting for tinnitus or reacting to it, you let go of it, it lets go of you, and the whole thing can go quiet. This is not a miracle, it's not a rarity. This happens all the time, every day. In my practice, I come across this every week. It happens all the time. I was on retreat in Germany last week, and 2 people there used to have tinnitus. They had it. One had it for 6 months, and the other one had it for a couple of years, and they don't have it anymore, and they don't think about it anymore. This is no big deal. If you're going through the difficult period in tinnitus, when you're freaking out and reacting to it, and you haven't yet learnt to self-soothe, or you're dealing with an ongoing stress which is keeping you activated and keeping you in this sort of freezing response or fight or flight response, or if you're going through some major auditory readjustment to noise trauma or shock, then it can take a while for your system to settle. But please, I want to be completely clear about this. It is possible to make a complete recovery. Like me, tinnitus can come back a tiny bit if I sit in a quiet room and I've got a stinking cold and I've had a particularly rough week. Colds tend to really increase the irritability, but I know it'll go away again, so I don't react to it. My mind doesn't lock into the sound. It's no big deal for me, so it just goes away of its own accord. So every day I get asked if it is possible for tinnitus to back off and to be cured of it, and yes, it is. I want to put this out there because I know it can be difficult for people who are struggling with tinnitus because it may seem a bit of a way off, but I want to leave no doubt in people's mind that you can make a complete recovery. Long before you get to silence in a quiet room, it may be so low and uninteresting and unimportant that you may not even bother to monitor it. This happens a lot. But yes, you can make a complete recovery from this condition.